Sack Life Beat Depression is day 691, and we're about to have some fun with another somatic healing session to wipe out depression. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here now. Anyone who's tuning in later, appreciate you guys and girls out there. As you know, it's a martial arts for mental health show, focusing in on those mental health tools first. So today we're going to talk about that gratitude tool. It's a powerful one. We start every single show with that gratitude tool. So today, a couple things I am grateful for is the fresh air, the sunlight, the chance to be out here in the world of the living, and the chance to link up with you guys and girls out there. Thank you so much, everybody who's tuned in, who's been showing up to support themselves and to support others in this thing we are creating for one another. That's where my gratitude's going today. Go ahead and think about your piece of gratitude, and that'll help put you in that positive mindset as we move into today's lesson. Today's lesson is going to be based on Muay Thai stance, as we have been practicing for so many days. And if you're not familiar with that stance, remember there are free stance guides available on sacklifeofficial.com down at the bottom of the martial arts for mental health class section. So you can always be prepared for 99% of the time with these classes. We will be linking up with other martial artists and cross-training in different forms of martial arts in the near future. So we'll have other stances coming out for you to learn, different tools to pick up, different avenues for growth to find. But until then, I've got to go with what I do know, and mostly I've been training in Muay Thai and a little bit of Western boxing. So we're going to stick with Muay Thai for today. We're going to talk about variable combos, and before we get into that, I want to get into the number tool, that second powerful mental health tool of progress tracking. Keep track of the number of days that you show up for yourself and you put in the work and you move forwards. And speaking of which, there's Slayer Ken. Shout out to Slayer Ken. Thank you for being here. We talked about the gratitude tool. Think about that thing you're grateful for. And now we're on to that progress tracking tool. So by keeping track of the number of days you show up for yourself, it's been 691 days for myself. 691 days of consecutive training, no breaks. And by keeping track of this number, it doesn't just let us know the number of days we trained, but it also lets us know the number of days that we've overcome the debilitating effects of depression. And that is a documented fact, right? If we were debilitated, we wouldn't be up on our feet fighting forwards. So because we're documenting truth, we're documenting fact, when we get hit with those lies that depression or anxiety tries to sell us, we can look at that fact. That's why it's so important to put this number somewhere. Put it on a calendar, put it on a notebook, a piece of paper, put it in your phone somewhere you can see it, somewhere you can look at it, so that you can remind yourself that you have overcome depression for X amount of days. You have overcome debilitation for X amount of days, and you can look forward to knocking out depression for the next 691 days. And that number will really be an anchor for you back to your real strength, to your true power. It has helped me tremendously, and it doesn't stop. It just keeps getting better. It keeps making it easier and easier to get up out of bed and to move forwards in life. So shout out to everybody staying consistent. Ken said congrats on 691. Thank you, brother. It's 299 days for Ken, one shy of 300. That big 300. Congratulations on your progress, Ken, and staying consistent. Shout out to Mad with Hats and Lisa the Luminary as well. Mad with Hats says 129, I think. I'm dialing back today. Did a death march again. Big bad 10 miles. Wow, putting in work. Peace, everybody. Yes, thank you so much for sharing your 129 days of progress. That's good stuff. Something to be proud of. And, of course, Mad with Hats mentioned that he did already do physical exercise. He already went through a workout. He got in that high-intensity exercise that's beneficial. So he's tuning into this class at his level. He's going to challenge himself to his level, and that's what we all want to do out here. Shout out to Dana as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. So we talked about the gratitude. We talked about the number tool. One of the other things that makes this effective for mental health is not overreaching, avoiding overreaching, and instead aiming for a zone where we challenge ourselves to our skill level and we don't overdo it. We don't underdo it and fall into boredom. We don't overdo it so it feels like too much work. We want to find that zone right in the middle that challenges us to our current state of mind and body, our current state of being, and output at that level. And ways we can moderate to that level is by moderating the volume of punches, right? The number of punches, the power behind those punches, and the speed at which we throw those punches. Those are all things we have control of, and we can dial up or down to match where we are in the given moment. Shout out as well to Luca. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. Today is Thankful Thursday. Sure, yeah. Every day we practice gratitude. Why not name it Thankful Thursday? So today we talked about gratitude. We talked about the number tool. We talked about pushing to our skill level. And by giving ourselves a challenge to that skill level, as the skill level goes up, we can increase that challenge. And therefore we can find and stay in that flow zone. If you check out the flow zone, Google flow state, you'll find that's a eustress experience, and it helps us alleviate the symptoms of mild to moderate anxiety and depression. Stress cannot exist in a state of flow, and that's why we aim for that state of flow every time that we are working out. So please do push to your level, moderate to that level, and dial that intensity in to give yourself a challenge. It's important that it be a challenge, that way we can see that growth, but again, don't want to overreach. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of signs. Whoop. Sorry there. I'm going to give you guys a couple of things to look out for to avoid overreaching. You're going to want to check in on yourself as we go through the lesson. Make sure you don't see spots, lightheaded, dizziness, or feel nauseousness in that stomach. Those are all signs of overreaching, and they could put us into more anxiety or more depression. So we want to dial back if we're feeling any of those things. Now, let's go over the strikes. Today we're going to do variable combos. So we're going to start with the basic jab cross, but we're going to mix it up from there. After the cross, we're going to toss a couple of different variable combos out there. And I'll be able to demonstrate here with Bob. We'll be switching back and forth between orthodox and southpaw stance. That means here's our standard stance, dominant hand in the back, and southpaw, everything is reversed, everything is mirrored. We'll be swapping back and forth to keep ourselves on our toes, keep ourselves creative, keep ourselves flowing. And like I said, out of that cross, we might throw a knee sometimes. Out of that cross, we might throw an angled knee. Boom. Out of that cross, we might reach across the face of the enemy and turn the hip, boom, to toss a roundhouse kick into their guts, into their side. So we're going to practice in a lot of different things. I'll kind of go through it at a flowy pace, at a moderating pace, up and down with intensity. We'll kind of go slow and build up in each round, and hopefully that will give you guys a chance to adapt to your personal level. Now, if you don't have a beat depression Bob dummy to get that somatic release on, you can still do this with nothing, with air. That's what shadowboxing is. It wasn't about having a dummy or a bag, but it's about practicing those techniques, visualizing an opponent, visualizing an active threat, moving around, and training for accuracy, training all that muscle memory so it'll be there when you need it. So all you have to do is visualize your opponent, visualize your beat depression dummy, visualize your depression dummy, so that we can beat him, so we can knock those lies right out of his face. By consciously acknowledging that word, visualizing that word on the face of the dummy, or visualize the dummy as depression, we can consciously acknowledge what we subconsciously do every day, which is knock out those lies telling us what we can't do every day. So visualize your depression dummy, square up with it, square hips, square shoulders, and guard high by the brow line. Close those fingers, tuck the thumbs. We're going to shift our body weight from the front foot to the back foot in Muay Thai position. For the jab cross, you guys know, rotate through the hips and shoulders, twist on the ball of each foot. Hips and shoulders, foot rotate together, and we drive those fists forwards, turning them over, landing on those large two knuckles in the jaw or in the nose of that depression dummy. Whoosh, whoosh, jaw or nose, those are nice soft spots to aim for. We want to land on those large two knuckles with the wrist nice and straight. All of this will prepare us for the bag, and if you can get to a heavy bag, it's an excellent way to get a somatic release of anxiety and depression. So please do continue to level up, continue to challenge yourself. If it becomes super easy to shadowbox, ramp that intensity up, or find yourself things that take you to the next level like Bob or the heavy bag. That's enough chatting. Let's get into it. We're going to have 3 rounds, 3 minutes each, 1 minute breaks in between to catch your breath and drink some water. Make sure you got water and you're staying hydrated. And we'll have some sweet 80s retro synth beats to fuel our fighting spirit out here as we punch through depression.
Bluetooth, pairing, Bluetooth, connected.
Oh. Let's go with Stranger Beat today. Why not? Kind of in a Stranger Beat mood. And if you like these beats or you like to train to them on your own time, check them out on Spotify. They're free to stream. Just search the artist Sack Life Official. All right, let's pop into it. We're gonna get this timer started. Shout out to Jay. Thank you for the support, brother. Appreciate you. Let's get it going. Square up into your Muay Thai stance here. Get your weight shifted onto the balls of the feet by bending those knees. Keep the hands high by the brow line. Close those fingers, tuck the thumbs. And we're gonna step in for the 1-2. 1-2, twisting through the body, twisting through the ball of the front foot and ball of the back foot. Why don't you guys exhale here out the mouth with each strike. Short, powerful bursts of air like we practice on Superhuman Sunday. 1-2, drive those fists forward. Step in for the 1-2 and twist through the body. Chin tucked, head on the center line. Keep it moving and keep going. Step up to that dummy and deliver 2 shots right to his face. Now again, moderate to your level. Drive through the hips and send those fists forward. Turn the wrists. Keep the wrists straight. Turn those fists over and land on the large 2 knuckles. Exhale on those strikes and you can increase the speed, volume, and power behind them to your level. Just keep them going. Focus in on that form. You can throw 3, you can throw 4. You can throw as many as you'd like that give you a challenge to you. Let's go. Hit that dummy in the face. Square up with him and drive through the hips and shoulders. Turning on the ball of each foot. Boom, boom, boom. For those strikes. 1-2. Now we're going to start varying it up. We're going to 1-2 is the cross. And from here, we're going to chop this arm straight down and send the knee forwards. Whoosh, boom, into the guts of that depression dummy. So step in for the 1, drive that fist into the face, turn through the hips for the 2. And then from here, we're going to chop this arm down and drive that knee forwards. Knee comes up nice and tight with the body. We're chopping that arm down on the same side. Step into the 1, rotate for the 2. Chop the arm, boom, and drive that knee forward into the guts. Remember to keep the weight on the balls of the feet. Keep yourself nice and squared, nice and balanced after each combo, and keep it going. Boom. Boom. Again, exhale hard on those strikes. 1, 2, 3. Boom. And you'll notice when I rotate here, turn on the ball of the front foot, turn on the ball of the back foot. I turn that foot back, open up the hip just a little bit, and then I drive through that hip, whoosh, as you bring that knee up straight forwards into the guts of that depression. I'll show you, depression dummy, I'll show you on the bob. Step into the 1, rotate through for the 2, and then boom, drive that knee straight forwards. Keeping the guard high on the opposite hand. 1, 2, boom, knee forwards and back. 1, 2, forwards and back. Send that knee into center mass. Aim for the solar plexus. 1, 2, boom, straight forwards and straight back. Curl those hips, curl those shoulders. Keep the guard high. 1, 2, and back. Squared up. Don't lose that balance. Catch your breath. That's the end of round 1. We're picking up into a different variable combo for round 2 and another different one for round 3. Feeling good. I'm hoping you guys find something, ways to grow, different ways, different avenues for growth each and every day that we do this program. My goal is to give you something new, something different to practice outside of the fundamentals. Always drill those fundamentals because fundamentals are the most important. They are indeed fundamental to martial arts, so it's always a good idea to drill them no matter what skill level you're at. So, on this next one, we've got the jab, the cross. We're going to reach across the face and chop the arm for a roundhouse kick. So that hand's going to act as a counterbalance. Step in for the jab, rotate for the cross, reach across the face, boom, turn that hip over and rotate through that hip. We're going for the roundhouse kick here. Let's do the 1, 2, 1, 2. Now we're just going to reach across here as we adjust, right? Turning that back foot. We're planting on the ball of that back foot. We're going to swing that hip over. Whoosh, boom. Swing that hip over and chop the arm at the same time. Keep the weight on the ball of the foot so you can rotate. If you can't rotate, don't worry about it. Just send that foot forward nice and slow, nice and gentle. 1, 2, reach across the face, turn through the hips, You can shift that body weight back towards the back foot a little bit more, making sure the weight's on the ball of that foot. Flex that calf. Keep the heel off the ground. Step in for 1, 2. Reach across. Boom, boom. Exhale hard as you drive that leg over, turning that hip over. Make sure you rotate the hip and drive through that hip for the roundhouse kick. 1, 2. Reach across the face. Whoosh, boom, there it is, and rotate back. If you've got a bob dummy at home, it feels great practicing roundhouse kicks on them. We're gonna step into the 1, rotate for the 2, reach across the face, whoosh, boom, drive that roundhouse kick, and back to stance. 1, 2, roundhouse, boom, back. 1, 2, roundhouse, and back. You notice I'm giving it a little hop and turn it into a switch roundhouse kick. It's a good idea. You can fire it from the back foot and shift your body weight back, or you can do a quick switch here and then drive through the hip, maintaining your distance and creating more power. Step in for the 1, pop, rotate for the 2, quick switch, drive through the hip, and back. Now we're in southpaw stance when we switch. We're gonna switch all the way back and get back into it. 1, 2, switch, drive that hip, boom, and back to stance. 1, 2, switch, drive that hip, back to stance, and square up with that dummy. If you're at home on the visualized target, 1, 2, switch the feet as you reach across the face, whoosh, and drive through for that roundhouse kick, pivoting on the ball of the rear foot. Let's do it again. 1, 2, switch as you reach across the face, drive through for that roundhouse kick, rotating on the ball of the back foot. If you don't have the room to rotate, 1, 2, switch, and just go nice and slow. Toss that hip over, boom. Try not to fall over if it turned into slow motion. 1, 2, switch, and reach across the face. Drive through the hip, go nice and slow. Ideally, you want this weight on the ball of the front foot so you can rotate through. But if you're going slow and not rotating, you can plan it and just keep it controlled. Boom. Nice and slow. 1, 2. Boom. Swoop. Switch back to orthodox. 1, 2. Switch. And boom. There it is. Turning the hip over and back to stance. So end of round 2. Catch your breath. Drink some water. Building up that roundhouse kick a bit. Hopefully you guys are finding some room to grow there. For the next one, we're going to step in, jab, cross, and twist there for a hook. Jab, cross, drive that knee. Jab, cross, switch, roundhouse, bump. Right there, we'll be able to use all those things together. We're just going to add in a hook for that final section, and then we're going to flow between the different combos, varying them up, keeping our enemy on his toes so that he doesn't know what to expect next. So, good part about drilling those fundamentals, right? Boom, drilling the same moves over and over again is going to build our muscle memory. But by varying it up on the third part of that combo, gives us different options to use when we're in the ring or we're working on that bag and we want to keep it creative. Keep ourselves on our toes, keep the enemy on his toes as well. Here we go. Let's pop into squared off Muay Thai stance. Nice and balanced. Tuck that chin. Step in for the 1, 2. Back to stance. And we're going to start adding in a hook here. 1, 2. We're going to rotate on the ball, that front foot, bump, and twist through the body. Bringing the fist up, locking the elbow in at 90 degrees, wrist straight, turn through the shoulders and body, and drive that fist into the face of that depression dummy. Square up, 1, 2, and then drive that fist, boom, twist through the body, rotating on the ball of the foot, bam, drive that fist into the face of that depression dummy. If you've got a bob, practice on bob. 1, 2, push. Drive through and back. Step in. 1, 2. Drive through and back. Guard high. 1, 2. Drive through and back. Twist through the body. And square up with them. Back to stance. Keep it centered. Visualize that target and hit them with the 1, 2. Whoosh, whoosh. Now, boom. Hit them with that hook. Back to stance. We're going to toss the knee now. 1, 2. Knee strike. Back to stance. Now for the roundhouse. 1, 2. Switch stance. Reach across the face. Roundhouse kick through the body. Back to stance. All the way back to orthodox. And keep it moving. 1, 2, knee. Let's do it. 1, 2, knee. Back to stance. 1, 2, hook. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Back to stance. 1, 2, switch, kick, roundhouse. Let's do it. 1, 2, switch with the reach. roundhouse, boom, and back to stance, all the way back to orthodox position. 1, 2, knee, whoos, whoos, whoos. Back to stance. 1, 2, hook. Back to stance. 1, 2, switch, roundhouse. Whoos, whoos, switch, whoos, oh, roundhouse, boom, boom. Easier when you have a little resistance from the bottom. Step in, square back up, orthodox stance. 1, 2, knee. Back in. 1, 2, hook. Back in. 1, 2, switch. Roundhouse kick. 1, 2, switch. Roundhouse kick. Nice and slow and controlled if you don't have the room for the rotation. Back to square. 1, 2, hook. Back to square. 1, 2, knee. Back to square. 1, 2, switch. Roundhouse. Switch. Roundhouse kick and back in. Square up to orthodox stance. 1, 2, knee. 1, 2, hook. 1, 2, roundhouse. Whoosh, whoosh, switch. Roundhouse kick. Back to stance. Nice and slow if you want to keep it controlled. Let loose if you got the bag at home. Let's work on Bob. 1, 2, knee strike. Whoosh. Back to stance. 1, 2, hook. Boom. Back to stance. 1, 2, roundhouse switch kick. 1, 2. Whoosh. Back in, square up, 1, 2, hook, 1, 2, knee, 1, 2, roundhouse, switch, whoosh, and that is the end of round 3. I hope that you guys are pushing to your level, and Luca said I'm strong enough to break wood with my bare hands, and that's about skill level, Luca, remember? We talked about this the other day. There's a proper technique to things. There's a science behind things. So you don't have to be that strong to chop through wood. You just have to learn the proper way to do it. That's the same thing with these tools that we practice on here. When we learn the proper way to execute those strikes, it doesn't take a whole lot of energy. It doesn't take a whole lot of power from us to be effective, to have an effective, nice hard strike in there. It's more about the science behind it, more about getting the correct angles, maintaining the proper balance, and using our body in a way that's super effective. So, anyone can learn to chop through wood. Like Luca was talking about, anyone can learn how to practice martial arts. All it takes is consistency, dedication to learn that technique. And you don't have to be super strong to do it, but you will become stronger for doing it. So, until next time, I hope you guys are finding benefits to this class. If you are, please do share them with the world at Sack Life Daily on YouTube. And until next time, I'll catch you guys same Sack time, same Sack channel, same Sack Life. Sackman out.